Okay, this is intended to be a video, kind of a tutorial video on how to install the electronic cruise control system on, in this case, a 2023 Gas Gas ES700, so the enduro version. I can only assume it's essentially identical for the supermoto version. I've already installed the system, so I'm not going to uninstall and reinstall it, but I'm going to show you how I did it. First of all, the instructions suggest that you install it on the right side here under the fairing in this general area here. I did not do that because I found that it fits better elsewhere. By the way, if you might hear some dogs growling and barking in the background. Anyway, so I ignored the right side. In fact, I actually pulled this side off initially and then realized I didn't want to put it over here. So I pulled off the left side fairing instead. And to pull off the left side fairing on this bike is very simple. You take the fairing that is sitting up here and you pull that tab out of that grommet. Then there are two bolts you remove here and down here that connect the fairing to that black plastic and these tabs behind here. Okay, so once that's pulled out and these two bolts are removed, they look like this. Then you can essentially just take this fairing piece and you lift it up as you're sliding it forward, pops right off. Then you remove this piece right here, which doesn't require any tools. It just has two pins that pop out of two grommets and it comes off. And then that reveals plugs under here. Now there were two plug ends that were plugged together right down in here. And you can't see it right now, but the main module for this cruise control system, which in this case is orange in color, is actually sitting directly underneath these plugs, tucked down in that little hole. So what you do essentially here is you take the two plugs that are plugged together, you unplug them, and then each one of the pigtails from the Veridian Cruise Control System, Veridian Cruise Control System, V as in Victor, each one of those two pigtails plugs into each one of those plugs that you've just unplugged. Then you tuck the orange main unit down under here, as I mentioned, out of the way. And then in my case, I actually ran the cable from there right through where the braided line is right here, which is, it comes like that, braided. I took this piece off so I could run it behind there. And then I routed it right along here. I didn't want to trim the cable short, so I just coiled the excess right here. And then on the end of this, there's a plug and there's a purple wire. I think it was purple. Pretty sure it's purple. It's tucked down in here right now. Yeah, it's purple. You can see it right there. This is the CAN bus connector for the bike, and so essentially it doesn't have anything plugged into it except a dummy plug. You unplug the dummy plug, plug the end of the Veridian Cruise wiring harness in here. Then and by the way, I should mention that before you do any of this part of it, you should remove or at least flip away the ECU, remove the battery that sits directly underneath here, which requires removal of that bolt and that bolt, and you slide that plate and you can lift the battery out. Okay, disconnect the battery, get the battery out of the equation for obvious reasons. At any rate, at that point, if you lift up or unbolt, there are two bolts, one here and one here, that hold the relay panel down. Once those are off, you can lift or fold this up. And that gives you access to the wire right here that goes to the brake light in the back. So it's part of the brake light system. The Veridian Cruise Control package includes one of those quick clamp wiring connectors. So all you have to do is just strip back a little bit of this coating down in here for the brake light switch, or brake light, and then strip it back a little bit of the wire and install that quick connect. I don't know what you call those. You know, those quick connects for wiring, so you don't actually have to solder them together or twist them together. Anyway, one of those is included with the system. So back here, literally all you do is flip the ECU forward, remove the battery completely, disconnect it. Flip the relay panel forward, revealing access to this wire for the brake light switch or circuit. Then you connect that purple wire with the quick connect, plug the end of the wiring harness into the CAN bus, and then I just cable tied the excess into a loom back here. And see, I've got it cable tied every so often, so it's not going to move. Then as far as the main controller for the handlebar is concerned, it's right here. And this, I believe, is called the soft touch part of the system, or soft touch option. And I chose to install it, as you can see, on the outside of the OEM button for the different maps and the traction control. So I pulled off the mirror and the brake lever, the controls there for the headlights, horn, turn signals. I removed the grip, and because this is one thing I will say is I think Veridian should offer this in a hinged clamp. It's not hinged, and so it also is not flexible. So you can't, as far as I could tell, you can't bend it around a bar and put it on. You have to remove all this stuff and then slide it on. It didn't take very long, 5 minutes, but a hinged clamp, maybe it's less durable, but I think it would be nice. At any rate, so I installed that. That was already hooked up to one aspect of the wiring harness, and so that part was done. So just to recap, remove the side fairing, remove the battery, remove this panel right here, unplug the two plugs that are plugged together here that are for the, what they say it's for the grip sensor. They're very obvious. And they match obviously the shapes of the two plugs from the Veridian harness perfectly, so you can't really mess that up. So tuck the orange main module under here, plug each aspect of the wiring harness from the Veridian system into those two plugs you've unplugged. Run the wiring through here if you like this idea. Connect the purple wire right there to the brake light wire, which is right here and goes down underneath. Unplug the dummy plug from the CAN bus. Plug the end of the Veridian wiring harness into the CAN bus. Reinstall the bolts for the fuse panel. Reinstall your battery. Reinstall the ECU. Then, of course, reinstall the side fairing piece and the seat and this piece right here. And in my case, you're done. I went out to use it. It worked perfectly from the beginning. There was nothing I had to do. For me, it's simple. Cruise on, cruise off. Cruise on, cruise off. Because it's tied in with the brake circuit here, depressing the brake lever on the handlebar or the foot brake lever, both will deactivate the cruise control, which is wonderful. So you can either cancel it by turning it off here or by hitting either brake lever. It seems to work beautifully. It's very simple, and it has been an absolute game changer in this bike to have cruise control. So I don't think I've left anything out that's particularly important. It does come with installation instructions, and from the looks of them, these are taken from probably a 690 Enduro or a 690 SMCR KTM, but it's effectively the same thing. Very, very similar. It's just that, as mentioned in my case, I did not install any of it on the right side where this is. There's literally zero over there. I couldn't find a way to tuck everything in neatly and still put the fairing on the Gas Gas ES700, without causing interference with the way that the side fairing panel would fit. And that is primarily why I went to this location and then ran everything on the left side. So this, I believe, is the other switch you can get with this system, but in my case I have the soft buttons. Can't think of anything else to say. I hope this was really helpful. The first time I did this, it took me, I don't know, maybe an hour. If I were to do it again, now knowing how to do it, I could quite literally finish it in, I'm going to say 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. So anyway, I'll stop here. Again, I hope this was helpful. And yeah, if you choose to go this route with your cruise control, I think you will be very pleased. Veridian Cruise. Gas Gas ES700. But apparently instructions apply to the 690 Enduro and SMC model years 2014 to 2023. I am not sure about the Husqvarna 701 though. I assume it would be either similar or exactly the same, but probably more like similar. All right, guys. Good luck, guys and girls. Whoever watches this, good luck.